Well, good morning. Welcome back to JJ's PC Build. You know it is JJ here with you once again. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And also, too, welcome all new subscribers. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, always much love to you for all the love and support you show on the channel and all that you do. Okay, today it's going to be like a little bit of a weird day. I know yesterday I cut that video and put that video out early is because I wanted to get started with today's video. Okay. I know it was supposed to be for today and this video was supposed to be for tomorrow, but I just couldn't wait. So I had to get the videos out a little bit earlier. So now we're still back on track and today is Sunday. Even though that I thought, today was Monday, then that's what put me a little bit of ahead. Because Monday I had a lot. Monday and Tuesday I got a lot of running around to do. So I will try to make videos on those 2 days. But, I'm probably going to go ahead and make like this video right now and put it out to y'all and maybe do another video and put it out today as well. Maybe. But we'll try. We'll try to get you out a second video today. If I don't make it here Monday and Tuesday, do expect me here on Wednesday. So let's just go ahead and dive right into what we're doing here today. And we'll walk you through it. Okay, now I'm going to point you down so you can see my big body. Okay, and make sure you got your drinks and your snacks. I got mine. Okay, let me move the microphone over here. Y'all can hear me sliding it. Okay, this is what came in yesterday. The Corsair Rm 1000E. With the damaged box that, I'm not even going to say it. I already said it on the last video. I'm not going to say it on this video. So, and it still smells like electronics. So, just to let you know that. It's a nice power supply, believe it or not. And I told you I had to look into the connectors. What they did is they put the PCIe and CPU together on the same front right here. So basically the wiring for the PCIe connector for your graphics card and for the CPU, the one that goes to the motherboard, they run on these same pegs. So either all 6 of these could be either way. Could be for the CPU or it could be for the PCIe. And they got the SATA and PATA together as well. But the 24 pin for the motherboard, that is separate. They got that separate right here. So I would imagine that 12 volt, that special cable connector goes up on this. So that means I got a better advantage when I'm testing out, if I'm testing out those new graphics cards. It gives me a better advantage because now I got 6. Well, actually, if I took one away, that would be 5. But that gives me 5 plugins for the PCIe connection through that 12 volt power. That's not bad. That is not bad. Even though that I'm not going to be using the Molex connectors, I'll probably use one of the SATA connectors. The SATA for... I probably won't. Well, I probably will. You never know. That's right, because if I think about it, I'm not going to need the SATA unless I'm doing an internal hard drive. Not an SSD, a regular hard drive. I could use those for the regular hard drives. But we got 4 of those We got 4 of those times 4. So you got 4 connections on each one of these legs. So that gives me 4 times 4. That gives me 16 connections right here. So that's not bad. You can put maximum 16 on there. That's pretty good. I enjoy that very well. Corsair, you did a well job on the matter of the fact of the, putting all the information right here on top so you can see it, and the way you got this all set and going. I like the way this power supply looks, believe it or not. I really do. This power supply looks like it's a gem, which I'm going to treat it as a gem because it is a 1,000-watt gem. Now, if I ever decide I want to take this 1,000-watt gem, switch it out for my 750, I could do that. I could put this in and replace my 750 and use my 750, even though that's only a $50 power supply. When I got it, it was only $54, but after the discounts and rebates, it brought it down to like $38. So, but this one's a little bit more expensive. This one was $160. So, and that's from Amazon. And Amazon, I'm still not happy with your packaging. Like I said, box in a box. You take an outer box, you pack it with foam all the way around on the bottom, on the sides, and on top, and then in the midst of that, you put the product in there, and then you pack it tightly. So this way, if they bang it around in shipping, I don't have like what I had when I got this in a box. Understand? This only came in its original box. There is no box around it. Usually you're pretty good with that. Usually you put everything inside of a box and you foam pack it and everything else. But this time, for some reason, it didn't come with any foam packing, or it didn't come with an outer box. It just came with its original box. And luckily Corsair, and you did a well job on that by foam packing the power supply, even though that the delivery guys kicked it like a football and sat on it like a gorilla, you still packed it very well. But why we're here today is to make sure this is working correctly. I don't want to plug this into any of my motherboards. I'm cutting in here real quick to tell you that I had a change of mind and I did plug it into my motherboard. So back to the video. Knowing if it's not working correctly. That's one thing. And that's the reason why, I decided, to do a multimeter test. Multimeter test will give me the voltages. And if I get the voltages, the amperages will be there, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, if it short circuits in the midst of me plugging it in and y'all watching it and it goes up in smoke, then we know there's a problem. So I'm taking the 24 pin out, and the first thing I got to do is, kind of got to do this anyway. So, and I got to go to Corsair's site and do a pinout of this because all the wires are black. Okay, so that's the problem right now. All the wires are black, and I can't tell which one is the switch button. Usually it's the green wire, and which one's the normal black wire. So it would be nice in the future, even though that I could go to another power supply and take a look and see what the pinout is, for the switch wire and the ground wire. I want to make sure I got it correct and go to Corsair's website to see if they got a pinout chart. So stick around and don't go anywhere while I go take a look for that pinout chart. Now, Corsair, it would have been nice if you would have put in a booklet the pinout chart for each one of the wires on for those connectors. So this way, you know, everybody knows which one's which, since all the wires are black, and, you know, having to go fuss around for different sites and everything else. I'm just putting this point blank. Put a pinout chart for each one of the pins for each one of the connectors, so you know what the voltages are on each one of them, if they're ground or if they're a switch wire or whatever. You know, have a complete diagram to come with every one of your power supplies. That would help out the people that are just now, you know, learning how to build. Okay, they don't, when they see all black wires, they won't know what to do. And guess what? They'll think, okay, they watch a video that says, oh, you just cross these two wires. And what happens when they cross those two wires? And they're the wrong ones. They blow up the power supply. So a pinout chart with all the coding would be more sufficient. Now back to the video. Okay, so now I think I got a pinout, but, you know, it's hard to say. I'm going to estimate that this is correct, and I won't blow it up, trust me. So we're going to take and go ahead and just connect the 24 pin to the power supply. Okay, so we got the 24 pin connected to the power supply. Here, I'll bring you all down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I got the 24 pin connected to the power supply right here. So it's connected in here. So now we got the big connector here. Now, always look, this notch right here. You have to look at it at a down view. So this notch pointing down at the top of these leads, you got 1 through 12 on the top, and you got 13 through 24 on the bottom. So it's 1 through 12 on top. This right here, this knobby, this clip is pointing down. Always have that pointing down. 1 through 12 on the top, 13 through 24 on the bottom. And it's saying that 16 and 17, 16 is your switch, and 17 is supposed to be a ground. But this power supply does not have, it's empty on number 17, so 16 and 18. 16 be your switch wire and 18 being your ground. Okay, so to test the fact of that, I'm not going to use the paperclip method that, you know, everybody says use the paperclip method. I'm not going to be using that right now. And I'm going to use the multimeter to turn the power on. Multimeter's low in power, so it's got a little bit of resistance to it. All right, and make sure before you start your test, turn this off before you plug it in, and then you turn it on. Now you can probably feel it energized. So I want to do 16 and 18. And I get 0 response. I know you probably all are saying, well, how can you do that, man? Well, usually a transformer will leave a little bit of a buzz. But since this is like a zero fan method thing, let me get a testing object and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm breaking into the video again. I want to explain this really quick. The thing is this. I could not do the multimeter testing. Simple fact is that the cables are all black. I don't have a direct pinout on the power supply for the 24 pin to find which one the remote wire to turn it on and the ground cable. I don't want to short it out, so just to let you know that. So you can do it, but what I'll do is I'll catch you all in another video. I'll find a power supply that, that you can see where you got the mustard and ketchup cables. And you can see it from there, which one's the green, which one's the black wire. You can put a switch. You can make your own little power supply out of those things. Okay. So, but in another video, we'll show you all that, but let's get on with this video. Alrighty. My testing object is this. I just grabbed my B450 motherboard. I'm not going to put in anything else. And turn the power off on this. Let me see if it actually fits before I go on with these tests. Let's see. Let's see if we can actually get this in there. Oh my God. Wow. This is going to be a struggle, y'all. You're going to have to give me a couple minutes on this, so I shouldn't have to struggle putting in the 24 pin. This is asinine. I should never have to struggle putting this 24 pin in. And here's the problem. I don't even think this fits. And this is an updated motherboard. This motherboard, it should fit. There should be no way. I should be able to just slide this right in with absolutely no issues. Absolutely none. Look at this. So now I got another problem. See, I can't even get this in. So how am I going to do my testing if this doesn't fit the motherboard? This doesn't make sense. This is a 24 pin. Okay. It should, this is a new, this motherboard, it should fit. I shouldn't be having this kind of issues getting this connector in here. See, let's investigate. Well, I know it doesn't go that way. Okay, so what I'm going to be looking for is this. Okay, all of them bridge down here just fine. Well, that's where kind of the issue is. So What I'm doing right now is I'm looking at the connectors because they got all these. They got a box one on top. Got that one, that one. Got two boxes. That one, that one. Two boxes. That one, that one, that one. Okay, that fits. Now, let's do the back side. And sorry, got the flashlight. Okay, so the back side. We know the top side. We know this side here. You know, there's two sides. So we know this side here, and there's this side here. Y'all probably can't really see it. I do apologize for that. This side here seems fine. Seems to be the good connectors. Because that's this side. This side is this side. This side is this side. Now, we got... That one is correct. Those two are 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 correct. And that's correct. Huh. So, it could be that this connector is bent or something. But it shows, and they tell you don't force it. So I'm not trying to force it. So I think what I'm going to do is, before I connect this into the PSU, if I can ever get them out, is that I think the cord is too Jesus Christ. Sorry, y'all are going to get my language now because this is really pissing me off. Okay. Before I connect it into the PSU, and y'all are seeing every mistake I make and every mistake I don't make. So, if you ever have this kind of problem, then that means something's not right. See, something right in the middle is not allowing. Something right in the middle is not allowing the pins to go in correctly. What I'm doing here is I'm feeling to see if there's any burrs or anything. Any burrs in between the legs that might be restricting the legs from going into the sockets. Now I'm double checking to make sure I need a bigger light. I need a bigger light. Ugh. Double checking the pins, making sure the pins are correct. I mean, double checking the pins. It looks like yeah. I'm looking for any manufacturer defects. Corsair, I got a little problem for you. And I know somebody never had a problem with the 24 pin connector. The spacing looks fine. Except for one. And I think that might be my issue, is one. I think the issue is one of the pins aren't correctly spaced. See, if it's just off by a hair and they're not correctly spaced, people, this is the cause of it. This right here is the cause and effect of the board. Okay. Now, I am doing everything I can to line this up correctly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to push an imprint into one of the pins and find out which one is binding. There's one in here that's binding. So y'all are seeing the mess I'm going through, and I'm at 24 minutes. I should have been already plugged this damn thing in, and it should have already been testing this, and it should have been already going at this. No, I get a brand new power supply you pay $160 for, and I got to sit there and fuck with these pins. This is really pissing me off. I'm trying to make sure there's no shards or there's no plastic pieces that are in between the pins. That would cause this. See, in some areas they're tight. In some areas they're loose. You know. I know y'all are watching me do this, and I do apologize I'm taking longer than usual. This is going to become a longer video. The longer it takes for me to get this plugged into this bracket here. These all match. This is what doesn't make sense to me. It all matches. I checked every one of them. They all match. Because they got different cuts in there. You know, some are round shapes. Some are not round. Some are square. Some are round. Some are square. You know. And the thing is everything matches from this connector right here to here. And it's not the latch that's in the way. I mean, the latch is not even in the way. I should be able to push this down. You know, this is how people break their motherboards. And I know I'm putting it in dead straight. That right there is dead goddamn straight. So, what do I do to fix this? Well, the only way I can fix it, to get it to go in there correctly is realign the pins. Oh, Corsair. These sit on the shelf too long. The heat melts them. Oh my God. This cannot be that hard to put in a 24 pin. You know, got to find which one it is. This cannot be hard. I don't know why this has got to be so goddamn hard. And yes, you're going to hear me, and I do apologize for using profanity, but, you know, if you're trying to, you know, you're trying to test out your stuff, you know, and you got to go through this much goddamn headache just to get this in here. This is ridiculous. Good thing I'm testing this out now. Let's see which ones don't fit. And it's supposed to be, and this power supply is basically should fit all motherboards that carry a 24 pin it should be standard. And if I find out this is not standard, then we're, you know, oh my God, shit. I'm trying to see where the problem is. I'm really trying to see it. Okay, that's that. I have never, ever in my life, a non-modular power supply plugs in a lot better than a modular power supply. This is just unbelievable. There we go. Oh my God. Okay, y'all can quote me on how long this took me in the comments below. Let Corsair know that they need to fix their connectors because their connectors did not connect correctly. It took me how long to put that in there? You gotta be freaking kidding me. That took me that long just to get that connector on there. Now, a non-modular... Shit, bring you back up here. Okay, listen. Non-modular power supplies never give me this kind of issue. Now, I get a modular power supply because I want to, you know, keep it neat and clean. You know, I don't want a bunch of wires running all over the place. And then guess what? I got to sit here for, 10, 12, 13 minutes fussing with this connector? And, you know, the video is almost over with. This is unbelievable. Now let's see how long it takes for this connector to get plugged in to the motherboard. And as long as it's going to take, I will make sure that everybody gets what they get. Okay, the non-marked side. Let's continue with this before I pull my hair out. Okay, you got two sides. One that says CPU, right? You got one here that says CPU and one that doesn't. The one that doesn't goes to your power supply. Okay, the one that says CPU connected to your CPU. Let's see how long this takes me. Oh my God, this one just plugged in correctly. Perfect. That only took me 10 seconds. Now you got both of your connectors and you got your power supply. Now let's make sure. I know that plugs into the power supply. So let's go ahead and turn this. All I'm doing is I'm checking to see if, when I turn it on, there should be lights on the motherboard. Now, if there ain't, probably because I don't have the processor in there. But I've seen it to where without a power supply in there, it lights up. I mean, without the processor. Okay, so where it says CPU, now there's connectors that say CPU and PCIe. Plug it into one of them. Okay, now we get lights on the motherboard. Here, this way you all can see what I'm saying. See the lights on the motherboard? That is telling me the power supply is working. It's one of those zero power supplies, but I'm getting power to the motherboard. That makes me a happy man. Okay, so we're getting power to the motherboard. That's telling me the power supply's got the right amount of power to power this up. I'm a very happy man. Now I don't have to send it back. And I'm going to be contacting, and Corsair, email me. You can get it off of my homepage, or I can email you, send me an email to where I can get a hold of you, because I have a hard time getting a hold of anybody now these days. And let me know what I can do to fix this connector. Because obviously this 24 pin is really a pain in the butt. And if it's the consumer, they'll turn around, they'll throw the whole damn thing in the garbage. So I'm sure you don't want that turned into an e-waste. So, and I'm sure they're not going to throw $160 down the toilet. And I'm sure not going to throw $160 down the toilet. But I can tell you this, that the connector that's for the motherboard side is a real pain in the butt. This is the reason why they went 20 plus 4. Okay, they had where you combine the 20 and the 4 together to get your 24. The 20 plus 4 is because it's always at the ends. It's always at the ends that you have the problem of plugging it in. Always at the ends. So I pretty much had to take and finagle it just right just to get it into the motherboard. Now I'm sure when I plug it in, if I leave it plugged into here for 24 hours, that the plastic will start molding itself to the right position. But that's if I leave it under 80 degrees or 100 degrees of heat. to remold the plastic. But I'm not going to leave this at 80 to 100 degrees. So I need to get another connector. I mean, this right here, this right here, as heavy as this is an abomination, man. This really is abomination. You know, I mean, even the ones that are non-modular are not as heavy as this. That's what doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. But I do love the look of the power supply. Okay, I do love the fact that they're separate pieces, but only bad thing I'm seeing right now that I really don't like about the power supply is the fact of the fan's not spinning. That's one. I like to see the fan spinning in a low mode. Okay, even if it's running at low until you put more pressure, you pull more power from it, and then it goes up in a scale. I just don't like the fan sitting like this, not running at all. I'd rather have the fan to where it's running at a low setting, or you have some kind of control chip on there to where you can take and on the motherboard have some kind of program to where you can program the fan curve for this power supply. I don't know if you got it or you do. I haven't investigated that yet, but you need some kind of control. If you can control it through Windows, and you can put your own specialized fan curve on there, so this way, once you start drawing power, it'll ramp itself up, to the way the user wants to use it. Not to the way the manufacturer wants you to use it. It's the way the user wants to use it. You want to make the user happy. This will be something that be revolutionary. And stupid as it sounds, the fans alone have control of the fans that are on the power supply. Never been done, I don't think, but it would be a blessing. Just to let you know. Y'all, I know there's another part coming to this, because now I went for the first stage and checking to make sure the power supply and the motherboard are going to work. That's good. Now, if y'all were thinking, well, how come you didn't put the processor and everything else in there? I just wanted to make sure the power supply worked. I couldn't get a response from my multimeter, so yeah, I had to hook it to a motherboard. The motherboard's $79, okay? If it would have screwed up the motherboard, Corsair, you would have been buying me a motherboard for $79. At least I kept you away from the $200 motherboards. This is just a test. To test the power supply to make sure it's in working order. Oh, jeez. This is just totally ridiculous. Ugh. And I'll take and inspect and see where the hang-up is on this, and I'll let you know, Corsair. Because at this point, I feel that, if I plug it into this power supply into a motherboard, I should never, ever have to fight with it to get this to plug in to the motherboard. Never. Like I did today. Totally ridiculous. Should never have to fight with it. And you get somebody that is new into the building things, into building computers, first timers, they're going to freak out. They're going to be like, oh my God, I got all this way and now I can't get this into my power supply. Why isn't this working? Some of them will not, and understand this, some of them will not troubleshoot like I was doing to see which way to go if this was going to work or not. Oh, let me get this over here. If this was going to work or not with the motherboard, if it was going to power up or not, because usually you got 24 wires going to that block for the 24 pin, but there's only 22 out of 24 that I noticed. You got two empty slots, two empty pin slots in there. So, and by me looking at the road map, it was a ground and a 3.3, or was it, it was a ground and something else. I think it was either the -12. I didn't see -12 DC on there. So it might have been the -12 DC in the common ground that you didn't have on there. I noticed that being different on this power supply. That you didn't have a -12 volt DC, and you didn't have one ground wire. So if there's a reason for it, I don't know what your reason was. I have no idea. Maybe you can get with me on that and tell me the reason why you don't have a -12 source and missing a ground wire. You know, that just doesn't make sense to me. So, but it did power it up. It did power it up. But I'm looking at the roadmap right here, right now. You know, and guys, I want you to understand something. If you're going to be looking for the pinout, you're not going to be able to find the pinout. Okay. I went to multiple sites looking for the pinout for this power supply right here. I didn't find it. So a first-time builder is going to wonder, how can I test the power supply if you got all the wires black? How can I find out if the power supply is running if you put the fan on 0, where it starts off? If it's not being drawn in power, the fan's not running. How does somebody supposed to test that just by touching the on wire? I mean, now I'm going to say it. Now, the power supply on wire, and you short that to ground to turn the power supply on. How are they supposed to actually see if it's pumping out voltage? What if they don't have a multimeter and they just want to test the power supply to make sure that, you know, I know if the fan's running at 12 volts, that means 5 volts is working. That means 3.3 volts is working. You know, should be. Doesn't mean it is, but should be, because if the 3.3 or the 5 volt shorted, then the 12 volt doesn't work, because the philosophy on the voltages is that the 5 volt and the 3.3 volt derives off the fact of the 12 volt. So basically the 12 volt is your baseline. So your 5 volt and your 3.3 volt get reducted. You know, you got reductors in there that, you know, step down the voltage from 12 volt down. Now, I'm sure the 5 volt and 3.3 volt ain't coming off the derivative of 120 volts, which that's not possible, because then you'd be blowing stuff up. It derives off the 12 volts. Now, if the fan that's in here is 12 volts, little bit of a lesson. The fan here is 12 volts. then, you should have the fan spinning a little bit, to see if, and the only reason they turned the fan off of this is this. It's not so much that because of the damn noise. I'm going to teach you something. It's so much because of the dust. They turn the fan off if the computer's not drawing any energy or power to a certain point, the fan won't turn on. So they think that the power supply doesn't collect dust. Where there's heat, there's dust, regardless if it's on or off, juniors. Regardless if it's on or off, it's still going to suck in dust because there's heat. And as long as you got any kind of heat source, don't matter where it is, unless you got fans spinning at about 4,000 RPMs, pushing a wind tunnel through there to keep things cool, that's the only way you're going to keep dust off of your components. Now, I got 3 fans spinning at 2,700 RPMs and 3 fans in the back spinning at 2,700 RPMs, pulling everything through like a wind tunnel. Do you think I got dust on my power supply? Hell no. I'm just going to give you an idea. I had no dust on my motherboard, no dust on the processor, no dust on the back fan, no dust on the top fans. The only dust I had was on the 3 fans in front. That's it. And I got no dust cover in front of it. None. So I clean my fans off every 3 months. The ones in the front. And I check the ones in the back. And I check the I check the CPU to make sure there's no dust on the processor heatsink, which there ain't. I check the graphics card, no dust. So running this fan at 600 RPMs is not a big deal. Think about it. And yes, this turned into not an unboxing. This turned into a testing of the power supply to make sure the power supply was going to work after I see a bunch of gorilla marks all over the box and the box being banged around so much. It was unbelievable. To me, when you got dings and dents in the corners, that means either you jarred this too much, and luckily with these Japanese components, hopefully when I put a load on this, and that's the next step, is to put a load on this, to see if it's going to handle the power of the motherboard and so on. So I do got a motherboard that I'm going to test with this. And it's going to be the Asus TUF gaming motherboard. The one I got from Micro Center that's going to be plugged in with the 5800X3D, which that's going to come together real soon. Now I got to get me an M.2 drive for that. I got to get me a PCIe 4.0 X4 M.2 drive, and I got to get some. I don't want to run it. I want to run it with the RAM it came with. The rip jaws, but that's only 16 gigs. I want to be able to put more. I want to put like 32 or 64 gigs on that motherboard. So, but you know what? I'm just telling you what build is. That's the next build that's coming up is going to be that Asus TUF motherboard with the Ryzen 5600X3D, and I'm debating right now because they got a GT. What is it? I don't remember. It's a 1660 GTX, whatever, GTX, something like that, whatever. But it's an NVIDIA graphics card. I want to put a different graphics card in there because I don't think that 1660 is going to be enough for this 5600 X3D, I want to put something better in there. I mean, even like a 3070 Ti or a 3080 or even a 6750 XT or a 6950 XT will run great with this Ryzen 5 5600 X3D. So that's coming up soon. I'm working on getting the parts for that, and I do apologize. It does take me longer to get parts than anything. So do bear with me until things switch around and the finances, and then, once that happens, then I'll be able to get parts a little bit faster so I can do these videos a little bit better. So in time it will get better, but the more people that subscribe would be much appreciated, and watching the videos from beginning to end so we can get up to 4,000 watch hours is much appreciated. We're only a little past 2,000 watch hours. Okay, and this is going on the first year. Getting close to the first year. I want to be able to get at least 1,000 subscribers and the watch hours. I want to get us monetized so this way we can move forward. We can get more subscribers. We can do more things. At least we'll get straight with YouTube and, be able to get sponsorships and stuff like that, and work our way towards our goal. And our goal is to be the biggest and the best on the block. I'm trying. I'm doing my best, and thank you for all that did subscribe, But if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I just got done explaining it, but I'm explaining it again. And welcome all the new subscribers. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds and my veteran subscribers, as always. Much love to you. And for all that you do, watching the videos, telling your friends, come on down and subscribe. So, but I did get a good power supply for the test bench. So we'll try to get better cables from Corsair and see what they say about it. I just got done fussing with the damn thing. So I hope Corsair sees this video. And I'm not sponsored by them just yet. And this is not a sponsored video. So this is just me buying their product from Amazon to show you all, what it's all about. So next step is to build the motherboard, and that should be on the next video. So until the next time in the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.